Well, hello. I think I'm live. I've been struggling with the YouTube Studio for the last 5 minutes, but I think it's going. I think if I come over here and take a quick peek, looks like I'm live. So, sorry for the slight delay as the countdown counted down and then disappeared, and then I disappeared. As you can tell today, I have decided I am just too lazy to get the green screen set up, so you get to see my home office. Pretty exciting. Little small third bedroom. Anyway, why don't we jump right into it today? We are going to pick up where we left off, and this is what we were working on when we left off. Maximum thread count. So today you can do this as a -1 for unlimited, 0 for default, which is 1 per core. Positive integer explicit thread count. We're going to add a fourth option, which allows you to specify multiplier with an x, with a floating point or an integer. And so we did a little bit last week on this. Oh, I got test failing over here. I'm going to ignore that. That's the Linux side. I might come back to that later. Let's do a quick get k. And we'll do this. This is what we did actually not here. We'll go ahead and leave that open though. Let's open another window into the website. And let's do a get k here. So this is what we did, is we started a new 3.0 alpha 1 schema. And we copied the last schema, which was like a 2.4 beta 1 schema. I guess was the last time we changed this. And the change here was to max parallel threads to allow either integer or string. If it's an integer, it has a minimum of -1. If it's a string, it has this pattern. I did verify that that actually does exactly what I expected in terms of schema validation, both inside of Visual Studio and VS Code, although Visual Studio is a little weird about it because it's got that schema dropdown, and so specifying a schema explicitly doesn't always necessarily change that dropdown. So that's part of what we did. And so if we look at get k for where we are right now, one of the first things I did was go into our XUnit runner JSON, which is shared by all of our other stuff, and update the schema. So it's using this new 3.0 alpha 1 schema. One of the things I've never done, and I'm not sure if that's even going to like come into what we do with this later, is we've actually never done schema validation in any of these things before. We just kind of, load it up and sort of look and see what's going on. So the schema is there essentially as a guidance of, what you need to get those parsed values. And this is the first time I think we've broken schema. So what's kind of interesting about this is if you try and use, like a 1.5x kind of a value with a 2.0 runner, it's gonna probably ignore you just because of the way that all this stuff gets parsed. Right? Because what we do is every value that's in the JSON file, we say, if it looks like it's a Boolean, then here's all the Boolean things we understand. And if it looks like it's a number, then here's all the number things we understand, which, by the way, the max parallel threads is still here in its number form. But what we added was, here's the string form for this. And so if we run the tests here, we should have at least one failing test. You'll notice a couple of things. I'm using VS 2022 Preview 1 today, just because I installed it and I kind of wanted to see, I don't know, whether it breaks anything. If it breaks stuff, we'll just go back to 2019. They're side by side, so not a big deal. And you'll also see that that brought along .NET Core 6.0. Normally, I would not install a preview version of .NET Core, or I guess they're just calling it .NET. But I kind of had to with Visual Studio. And so over here, I have a global JSON. When this prompt comes back, you'll see I'm stuck on 5.0. But I didn't want to, see, stuck on 5.0. But I didn't actually want global JSON to be something I checked in. I had to set an SDK version for that. So I also changed the top of gitignore to basically not check in global JSON. And I believe that's because their versioning story is broken. It's less broken than it was before. You can see I can do 5.0.300 and still get 5.0.301. But like I can't do 5.0 point star. And I can't just do 5.0. Neither one of those things actually does what you expect it to do. And unfortunately, that's what I want it to do. And so I refuse to use global JSON for that reason. That's just the way it is. I don't think they're ever going to change it. I mean, they already made this one change so that 300 could become 301 because they promised not to break things, which is probably true for the .NET SDK, but not necessarily true for everything they bring in. But that's not really what I'm concerned with. I want 5.0 whatever. I want 5.0 latest. And they don't have an option like that. So yeah, that's the way that goes. All right, you can go away there, Linux. So you can see we have one broken test here, which is configurator with bad values should have given me a true but a false. That's kind of weird. That's probably because I'm doing that string version for max threads. And so if I were to just comment this out, which I can't really because it's else. I mean, I suppose I could comment it out like this, right? So what was broken here? This was run a utility tests. So let's go ahead and run a utility tests. Since we know where those tests are, we might as well get that up and running. I'm going to flip back over to my other browser just to make sure my live stream is still live. Looks like it's good, so whatever YouTube's problem wasn't a big issue. All right, Andreas, I think global JSON now has an option to specify roll forward behavior, which I think will achieve what you want. That's interesting. All right, let's do a quick global JSON roll forward. Global JSON overview, explaining the need roll forward and allow pre-release. Okay. Global JSON. Here's yeah, okay. Minus major batch. Okay, good. That sure. And then there's a roll forward. Oh, roll forward with feeling. That could be useful. Let's go code global JSON. Let's do this. Let's do 5.0 roll forward to what? We don't have any schema here. Oh yeah, we do. Roll forward to latest major. See what that does. Oh, no, that's not what I want. So roll forward to major. No, roll forward to minor. Nope. Do I have to do it like this? Is that what the problem is? Okay. Yeah, actually, all right. I'm less concerned with this then. Let me go. Yeah, let me go undo that change then. That's okay then. Let's do this instead. Let me do an undo. Let me do a restore on gitignore. Right. And then so global JSON roll forward minor. Maybe let's see what the difference between minor and latest minor is. Okay, so yes. Does it contain a roll forward? Yes. Version roll forward, whatever. Running command for Visual Studio? No. Global JSON. Okay, fine. Let's talk about the roll forward policies. So disable, this sounds like what it used to be. So minor, apply the feature policy. If no suitable SDK version is found, use the highest installed SDK version with the same major value. Okay, so what is latest minor then? Use the highest installed SDK with the same major value. So that's basically saying always do the latest, as opposed to if I had you know, 50300 or whatever. But given that I'm doing 500, which was never actually legal, then a rolled forward minor and a rolled forward latest minor probably don't make any difference. But let's just go ahead and do that anyway. And we still have 50301. Okay, good. All right, I like that. There is a part of me, yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's do add global JSON, git commit add global JSON, the stick, hello, to 5x SDK. Okay, we'll force push that because I just rolled that other one back. It's the dev branch. I'm allowed to force push. Don't judge me. So XUnit v3 assert tests. Really? I make a change to tests? XUnit runner JSON link? What? That looks to be a broken bit in Visual Studio. Just because I opened that file, it threw an item group in there. That's really strange. Okay, so the build now, nobody's yelling at me about using a pre-release version, so it looks like we're using 5. Thank you, Andreas, for that piece of information I did not have. Yes, enable it. Apparently my yes in VS 2019 did not apply to VS 2022. Always ignore. Yeah, don't care. All right, let's make sure that our tests are still running. We have assert equal fails at 0. Those strings don't look different. Oh, that's because it's the 0th string in the array that's different. So that's interesting. That wasn't broken last time. Okay, well, let's go fix that first. Test collection cleanup failure. In XUnit, where were you? You were in XUnit message adapter test collection tests. All right, let's do test collection tests. Yeah, and then your test collection cleanup failure. Assert error metadata, thrown exception. We have this thrown exception. We get that thrown exception. Okay. So we do stack traces with an ordinal compare. Messages with an ordinal compare. This is clearly the stack trace. Yeah, what's the easiest way to find this string? I guess is just, you know, let's actually not set the breakpoint there, but set the breakpoint. We were in test collection tests. We were here, so let's set the breakpoint here and debug this and see what's going on. Yep, gonna have to do this a little bit. Okay. So our v3 message. So our stack traces is one stack trace, which is here, right? So that's here. We'll throw this in Notepad. And then we'll dig in. And we expect the converted metadata stack trace. Actually, these are the two I should have copied, right? So that's the converted metadata stack trace. And then this is the metadata stack trace. Those look identical to me. Minimize moment. Where's, okay, so this equal to this. Oh, I already had a quote. True. All right, I'm very confused now. Very confused indeed. So the parent indices are fine, the exception types are fine, the messages are fine, the stack traces are fine. Okay. First of all, we've got a lot of windows here I don't care about. We need to get all these windows out of here I don't care about. You guys are all whatever and whatever. Unauthorized access exception. I don't care about that. Can't delete the PDB. Don't care about that. True and false. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. I don't care about that. Okay, so let's get some of these toolbars out of here that I don't want. I'm not 100% sure what is going on here. What are all these failing tests? And also, I don't know what these temporary files are that I like. Stop breaking on these exceptions, please. Access to the path is not allowed. I really don't care about that. That's just because I'm debugging and it's trying to delete the PDB and Visual Studio still got it open. So my test that was failing is not failing anymore. That's fantastic. But it fails there. That's different. That's test tests and test failed. $10 as I go look at that and it's the same again. What in the world is going on here? 2 minutes, test tests, test failed. So message adapter tests. This is the test tests, test failed. Adapted and then converted and then we assert the error metadata. Is that closed? I guess that got closed, didn't it? I guess it did. All right. Run it again. See if we can get another one to fail. I mean, clearly something is wonky here in these tests. When things are wonky, I start looking for things like which of these statics could be wrong. But these are all basically set and read only. So I really don't know how they might be wrong. Let's try this. Public class, public static class, public void, public static void. Okay, who's broken? Well, I see a little like brown. Oh, that's my breakpoint. All right, everybody here can be static apparently. I don't know if this is like an initialization race condition. Nope. Why are you... It's really always this. stack traces are not the same. Helps if you use control instead of shift. That's really weird. I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. I just kind of want things to work. All right, back to our config reader, where enabling this was causing a test to fail, which is totally fine. Let's get rid of the throw not impl, because I don't really want to have that fail the test. I want to go write a failing test first instead. Right, okay, so in run utility tests. Yeah, so I noticed this is happening now too. The Microsoft NetCore app package shows as broken in NBS 2022. I don't ever remember seeing that before. Doesn't appear to affect builds or runs, strangely enough, so I really don't know. All right, so first thing, this is definitely related to bad values. So our max parallel threads ABC is definitely a bad value, even with our news system. Negative threads over, so negative threads, so max parallel threads -1. We're probably going to need a new config file for this then, right? So what we need is, let's do override values probably has an explicit number of threads, 2112. Okay, negative threads, empty, that's what we use for our defaults. So we're going to need another one for testing some of these values. So let's add a new JSON file. Add a new via JavaScript, JSON configure it. Oh my god, really? Oh my god, really? Can't just have a JSON file. Gotta have a text file. Okay. Config reader, max thread multiple. Okay. I think, yeah, we just have a single value. Okay, that's fine. So max parallel threads, you're going to be 2x. Okay, so the tests for these, who uses config reader bad values? Jason? There you are, config reader tests. Bad values, there's negative threads. Theory, inline data, config, reader. What do we call it? Thread, max thread multiple. Max thread multiple JSON. We don't have a config equivalent, so I don't have to do that part of this. Static void. Oh, okay. Configuration file with negative thread value. No, that's a good guess. That's incorrect. Configuration file with max threads as multiple returns multiplied value. Command. All right, so let's go ahead and do this, and then assert true results. Wow, I don't know what this new thing is. It's trying to complete code for me, but I'm not sure I like it yet. All right, equal to environment dot. Is it environment? It's the logical. Oh yeah, there we go. Processor count times 2 with configuration max parallel threads are default. All right. So that should fail. Right? I wanted 48, but I got 24 because we're not actually parsing anything yet. So that's good. So let's go back to our config reader JSON, which for reasons unknown I closed. And here we go. So we want to steal our regex. Did I leave my GitK open? I did. Good. This is our regex. We want static regex. Really don't know why that is. Not capitalized. I think that's right. If let's see, we'll do a match is max parallel threads match against, go away, string value. If match success. Now let's throw a new divide by 0. What is your problem? Property.value.string if isn't that interesting? So there's a potential bug here. So this enum try parse allows us to have a null string, apparently. All right. But the reality is that none of those things would parse anyway. Okay. Very good. All right, let's try our divide by 0. Now our test should fail for a very completely different reason. Yeah. So we got a false out of our parse, which is good. So that means we matched. Let's see. What we really want is we want to say configuration dot. No, we want to do also if we want like a decimal try parse match groups. Let's say 1 value var max thread multiplier. Yeah, I know, you want little d. It's fine. All right, let's throw our divide by 0 here again. Oh yeah. No, that's weird. All right, that's not what I expected. Sort of expected it to fail with true false. All right, so match. Groups. We have 3 groups. Okay. So groups. We have 2x and blah and x. Really? Did I? Aha. Yeah. So in the other one, I didn't have the group in the right place. That's fine. Because of course I was just doing validation over there. Here I actually want to get the group value out. Right. Right. All right, groups. Groups 1. Yeah, all right, good. That's what I thought I was going to get. So there's my true false. There's my PDBs who don't want to go away because we're inside a debugger. Perfectly acceptable, right? Actually, why doesn't that get caught and ignored? As long as we're here. Try, catch, try, catch. Like, I know, if you can't delete it, then just move on with your life. Don't fail the test. Alright, copy full path. Don't fail tests because the debugger hangs on to the DLL or PDB of an acceptance test. Right? You can go away, web. Alright, that's that. Okay. So I feel like here tab should be 4, and I usually like ignore space change. Better. Sorry, I paved this box a couple of weeks ago, and it's actually it's a new box. I shouldn't say I paved the box, it's a new box. But it just means tweaking things from time to time. Okay, that was important. Okay, so here we are. We have a decimal triparse. Here we should be able to say configuration.max parallel threads is max thread multiplier. And we need to cast this result into an int times environment dot processor count, which means we don't need any of those. Which means we can roll that up into 1. Max parallel threads. I'm sorry, invalid. Oh yeah. Int. Yeah. What language are you in, sir? Apparently C#. Apparently. Okay. So obviously I chose 2 because I know 2 would always go nice and even. What we can do is now, so assert tests tend to run pretty fast. So what I'll do is just like a validation thing here is we'll say max parallel threads 1.1x, right? We'll rebuild everybody. Let's go see see, you're killing me, Smalls. This is broken. Oh no, that's okay. That's fine. Never mind. That's fine. Although that is kind of broken. Because line feeds. Because we already bring that in here. It just Visual Studio is generally speaking not smart enough to realize that. That's not something I'll fault it for. All right, source xunit v3 assert tests bin debug net 472. So we should get what, 26 threads? There you go. I have a 24 thread machine. 1.1x would be 26.4, which, you know, we just kind of round off. If I were to do this as like 4x and then rebuild everybody. Okay, nobody got their CS proj changed. 96 threads. Interestingly, notice that takes longer to run. Tons of threads is not always the answer. All right, one of the reasons I like, gotta rebuild so you can copy that. One of the reasons I like the default we have is because that tends to be the sort of most optimum version. Actually, let's try the other way. Let's try half. You know, having one thread per CPU core tends to be a very optimum way to run. As it turns out, half might be a little bit better. Okay. Well, whatever. This is now here. People can now tweak this to their heart's content. Let's go take a look at what we did. All right. So our JSON runner schema is here now. It's great. So we added a regex for this. If the value you give us matches the regex and we can parse with decimal, then we throw this in as an int. We use an else there, of course, because else. And we threw a string value not equal to null up on top because really nothing was going to survive anyway. No reason to even hop into all the enum try parse. The first thing they're going to do is throw basically false back at us. So no reason to do that. Okay. I think that's it for JSON. And I'm not planning to backport this into config files because config files are deprecated. All right, they only work on .NET Framework, which, I mean, you could sort of argue that .NET Framework itself is deprecated, right? The whole, you know, 1.NET or I don't know if that's the name that actually survived, but, you know, with .NET 5 sort of build as a replacement for both .NET Framework and .NET Core, even though it's based on .NET Core. Like, we're going to still support .NET Framework for a little while, probably not forever. And then config files only work there. So I kind of feel like, yeah, not a big deal. Okay, so back to the review. So that's our code. That's our test. We have this commented out thing here, and then all these changes here, which I find very strange. I would like to undo this change. All right, so let's restore that. Let's add all of that, and we'll run a full set of tests and see where that leaves us. While we're there, let's go back and look at this and make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, it's in the roadmap. But that's it. Nothing else, right? Okay. Oh, did I leave my change for... I bet I did. Senior runner JSON. Oh, no, I didn't. Good. Rolled that back out. So these should all say 24 threads. Very good. Unhappy at the number of flaky tests, but we will come back for those one day. Especially those buffered TCP client tests. They're all tied up into the v3 TCP runner, which is a feature that's not even close to done yet. And one that I'm hiding away from. Now, 32bit.NET. Here we go. So here's an interesting question. What is the default run here? The default run is net 472. So debug properties have nothing set. It's just a project launch. That's kind of what I expected. Test. General. We definitely want to turn that off. Auto check run settings. Play sounds. Logging level. Informational. Really know what this is supposed to be. You test using a run settings file. Yeah, so one thing I don't see here is anything about 32 or 64-bit. I am currently running any CPU, which I guess probably means it gets launched with 64-bit. Let's go ahead and run it now, just for fun. Yeah, 64-bit. Yeah, I don't know what that was. So like an infected environment? Some other thing was failing, was messing with something? Man, I don't know. That stuff, do not like when that kind of stuff happens. All right, so these all succeeded. So I think we're gonna call this, we're gonna say, what is your ID number? 2297. 2297. Okay. Path spec. Git commit -m. What path spec? What are you talking about? All right. Fine. Git commit. Pop up in a text editor. What do I care? Just, you know, do your thing. Empty commit. What? Oh, yeah. Issue. Okay. Actually, you know, I should be able to say fixes. That should automatically close it as well, right? Although not in dev. It won't close it until I'm in main. Git pull, make sure we have latest. Git reset. Let's see. Nope. Let's just do a merge. FF only of dev. And then push. See how we bounced back and forth between SDK versions because of the global SDK. And then that got closed. So that's over here. We'll go into our roadmap. That was 2297. That was this. You're probably asking, why don't I just check the box? Because, like some kind of weirdo, I like all the checked ones to be on top. Like some kind of weirdo. Okay. Well, what I did not preserve, unfortunately, was all the things I thought I might want to work on. So let's do another quick scan. Reduce first chance exceptions? No. Dependency injection? No. Test context object? No. Config file and runner switch equivalence? I think this is what I was working towards. And then I saw the config file whatever. Oh, you know what? I only did this for JSON files. Is that actually truly done yet? If it doesn't work on... No, you know, I'll fix it in the context of this. Okay. So everything in XUnit Runner JSON needs to be on the CLI, as is everything that is appropriate. That is, an XUnit Runner.json should be available on the CLI, and everything that's available on the CLI should be an XUnit Runner JSON. So, what is the easiest way to look at this? First thing is, let's go take a look at our schema. All right, let's go look at our schema. And so we have well, that's interesting. These should be this. I'll have to push a change up for that. Nobody's actually using the schema yet, so the fact that I change the schema shouldn't matter that much. I hope. Okay. So we've got app domain. Let's make a quick list of things. So we've got in JSON, we've got app domain. We've got, let's move you over here, and we'll move you over here. So we've got app domain, we've got diagnostic messages. We've got internal diagnostic messages. We've got long running test seconds. I don't know why I'm putting these like this, and it's not necessary. Max parallel threads, which is int and string. Why would you think this is web source code? Okay. Got method display, which is method, class, and method. We've got method display options, which has all these flags. Flag names should be combined with a comma. So we have all of those. Right, along with all and none. And let me make the font on this a little bit bigger. Let me make, I can't really do that here. Parallelize assembly. This is a Boolean. App domain. This is required if available and denied. This is a Boolean. This is a Boolean. This is a Boolean. Parallelize test collections. This is a Boolean. Pre-enumerate theories. This is a Boolean. We're going to do true, true, false. Let's throw some default values in here. Right, so this is if available is the default. Diagnostic messages is definitely false. Internal is also false. Long running test seconds, that's an int, not a Boolean. What am I talking about? That's 0. Int string, and that's 0. The default here is class and method. Default here, what is the default here? The default here is none. So the default here is none. Okay. And we've got shadow copy, Boolean, and true. Okay, so that's in JSON. So let's do console runner, and then we'll do the MS build runner, because we want all of those things, right? We want all those things. So you can go away now. We will drop you over to the side. Let's go to runner console. And let's go to the command line. All right, so we've got, let's see. I would really love to sort these things. Fail skips, stop on fail, no color, no app domain. This is a hidden option. No auto reporters. Pause. Pre-enumerate theories. Debug. Wait. diagnostics, internal diagnostics. We have app domains, which is at the moment required and denied. These are flags, by the way. Let's see. Max threads, which right now is only int. We have parallel, which is all assemblies, collections. We have no shadow. We have traits. We have no trait. This is name value. Name equals value. All right, and then this is name equals value. And then class, name, no class, name, method, name, no method, name, namespace, name, no namespace, name, and then the transforms. Okay. And reporters. Okay. So that's the command line. That's the external command line. The internal command line probably looks very similar with a few fewer options. All right, so we've got no logo, fail, skip, stop on fail, no color. So this is external only. Let's see, no auto reporters, pause, pre-enumerate theories, debug, wait, diagnostics, internal diagnostics, max threads, parallel, no shadow is external only, because we don't do app domains anymore in 3x. We have trait, no trait, class, no class, method, no method, namespace, no namespace, transforms and reporters. That was more overlap than I expected. And then lastly, let's go look at the MS Build runner. Right, runner MS Build. So we've got app domains, which we'll look at the parse of that later. Assemblies, actually we don't need assemblies. We understand that. Diagnostic, messages, exclude traits, fail, skips, filters? I don't know, that's computed. Interesting, it only has included and excluded traits. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? All right. So we have reporters. Do we have reporters? We might not actually have reporters. We'll see. We have transforms and report. Well, I don't know about reporters. Let's not put that there yet. So like HTML, JUnit, XML, XML v1, HTML. Those are all NUnit. Those are all transforms. Ignore failures. That's interesting. Ignore failures. I don't remember seeing that up there. Ignore failures. All right, then we have include traits. We have max parallel threads. There's an int. We have no auto reporters. So apparently we have reporters. Well, I'm sure we'll see them in the list here at some point. No logo. Parallelized assemblies. Parallelized test collections. Pre-enumerate theories. Reporter. Yeah, so that's how you get reporters, is reporter. Right, so that's reporter. That's HTML, JUnit, NUnit, XML, XMLv1. Shadow copy, stop on fail. Working folder, that's interesting. Okay. Now, if I were to, you know, sort these, you know what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to throw this in on my desktop, and we'll just say stuff. It's fine. Stuff. Code. Desktop. Stuff. Over here, please. Because I want to sort everybody. Color, no app domain, no auto reporters, pause, pre-enumerate, debug, diagnostics, internal diagnostics. Stop it. Stop it. App domains, max threads, parallel, no shadow. Let's see, trait, no trait, class, no class, method, no method, namespace, no namespace, no namespace. Transform the reporters. Okay. Clearly, we're missing a lot of stuff up here. Right? Clearly. So, we need to add, so we have app domains. Let's see, remove this if available thing. It's weird that I got rid of it. Why did I get rid of it? App domains. By the way, that should only be on external. Did I mess that up? Command line. In the improc, you don't have an app domains, right? App domains? Nope, you don't have app domains. Okay. So I've required and denied. Required and denied. Required if available and denied. Why did I remove if available? Is that just its default value and you can't set it explicitly? My guess is you're probably nullable, right? You're in the project. App domains is going to be in the assembly settings, right? So the assembly configuration. So app domain support is nullable. If available, required. I don't know why. I don't know why I took it away. It's weird. It's weird. We didn't look at the parsing in MS Build yet for app domains, but I'm sure it is the old stuff. There you go. So true and false are here for historical reasons. So it has this if available. So console, you're missing for some reason app domains if available. Missing. All right. So we know that this is required, denied, if available. We know that that's true. We know this is a Boolean. Excludes traits. This is a name value. Name value. Fail skips is a Boolean. Ignore failures is a Boolean. Include traits is name value. No auto reporters is a Boolean. No logos is a Boolean. Parallelized assemblies is a Boolean. Parallelized test collections is a Boolean. Pre-enumerate theories is a Boolean. Shadow copies is a Boolean. Stop fail is a Boolean. Working folder. So, diagnostic messages. So all of these must be false by default, because they're all just regular old bools. Right, they're not nullables. So you're false by default. 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 Let's see. Parallelize assemblies. False by default. You're false by default. Although you're setting a nullable. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? We only have a setter here. Maybe you're not false by default. Don't know. If parallelize assemblies doesn't have a value, then we pull it from all the assembly configs. And the default is aggregation of assembly configs. So we pull it from here, basically. Parallelized test collections. By the way, you guys, references, you should have been pinned down there, but we'll make you taller. If you have a value, then we set disable parallelization. Right, so you default are the config value, config file value. We only set it. It's not there. Okay, so pre-enumerate theories. Pre-enumerate theories. You're just plain old Boolean whose current value is false. Shadow copy config file value. I mean, I can pretty much stop on fail. I don't know. Why would you not be? Okay. And then, why would you have gone all the way down there? No, seriously, why would you have gone all the way? Stop on fail. I think there's a config value for that, but I don't see a config value for that. I mean, it's in the test options names, but I don't know, there's no config value for that. Oh, there is. Hey, you've just never been documented. Wow. Stop on fail. Boolean false. How did you never get documented? Domain diagnostic measures, internal diagnostic, max parallel, max display, method display options, parallelized assembly, parallelized test collections, pre-enumerate theories, shadow copy, stop and fail, and long running test seconds. Hey, you should be up there. Thanks. Okay. That's interesting. Let's resolve that right now. Because, yeah. Code web. Stop on fail, huh? Stop on fail. Are you down here and I didn't notice? No, you're not. Stop on fail. Why do you think it's 4 spaces? Because you're broken. You even recognize the configured tab sizes too, so shut up. enables or disables stopping all running tests when the first failing test is encountered. Defaults to false. Is that how we say it? Set default. I mean, I guess the default is described here as well. Why? What in the world did you just do? Type is Boolean. What is up with this new coloring here where all of my stuff disappears when I start typing? That is a crappy color choice. Visual Studio or Brad, whoever's responsible for VS Code, I should say. Whichever of us did that. Stop it. All right, so stop on fail wasn't documented. How strange. Do we read it? There's all of our booleans. Yeah, we read it. Just never documented it. How strange. Okay, stuff. Right, so configuration is one of those, and we'll just make sure stop on fail is false by default. It is, okay. All right. Great, so if available is missing. I don't know why if available is missing. One of the other things I did so I grouped these things, general options, .NET Framework options. Actually, yeah, I was going to say, where's shadow copy? But there it is. No shadow, app domains. What's the other thing that's out here? Oh, app domains, no app domain. That's right. That's hidden. Right. And then these filtering things, because I would really like to come back and make a filtering language for this. I really don't particularly, I mean, this is a little bit on the friendly side in the sense that I can just say, you know, dash class, whatever. But, you know, a dash filter class is equal to foo would be all right, right? I think I have an open issue for that. Let me see what's going on here. I think I have an open issue for that, which is filter. We got, yeah, test filtering expressions. Trait, no trait method, blah. This means certain test combinations are expressible with the only alternatives being performing multiple runs or listing each test method individually in the command line. For those of us very large, this is not practical. Has a test case filter option that would allow passing expression, but that runner is missing many other nice features. So it'd be great if we could do this. Right, so I totally agree with this. Matt, totally agree with this, which is why it's in the list. But I think what it means is like when I'm making my list of stuff that I'm missing here, you know, we're going to say test filtering. Let's do this after 2126. Because I would like to replace all the filters with, you know, other stuff. So we have reporters. We have transforms. We don't have any of that stuff up here, so we need reporters. We need transforms. We have AppDomain. This is a filter. We have diagnostics. We don't have debug. So we need debug. We need fail skips. We need we have the equivalent of parallel. We don't have pause. We do have stop on fail. We don't have wait. So that appears to be what's missing up here. Reporters, transforms, and stuff. Now, transforms and reporters are kind of interesting because they're not necessarily per assembly, right? They're sort of global. So the reporter is how does stuff show up when we output it. And the list of available reporters really depends on the runner. So yes, the console runner might have a JSON formatter, a JSON reporter, a quiet reporter, a TeamCity reporter, a verbose reporter, AppVeyor and Azure DevOps, all those things as reporters. These are auto-enabled only. Like the Visual Studio runner, you know, the plugin that plugs into Visual Studio and VS Code, and these things don't make sense, right? Because they all have their own UI. So I don't think reporters actually applies. And similarly, the way we do transforms, the results files is what we call them in the customer feature sense. The result files are cross-assembly. So I don't think results files are applicable either. So that leaves us with these, which I think we'll call fail skips with a capital S. Debug, fail skips, pause, and wait. I guess I should have left the VS Code open, shouldn't I? Because we're going to add some more stuff in here, aren't we? Okay, so the 4 we're going to add, we'll do debug. Debug. Oh my god. You know you're wrong. Why do you insist on being so wrong? All right. Enables or disables launching the debugger before any tests are run. Attaching the debugger. Actually, we'll say launching/attaching. Not all runners will support this flag. So I have not been defining default values here. I guess because I just assume that type is Boolean. So there's debug. We need fail skips. I literally tabbed away and came back, and you have fucked it up again. Detect indentation from content. Why is that not the... Why do you suck? Enables or disables converting skipped tests into failed tests. False. Glass. False. Oh my god. You know what? VS Code, you're like going to be sidelined here in about 5 freaking seconds. Boolean. If I come back and you're on tab 4, nope, you're done. Thanks. Thanks for coming out. We'll open it in here and hope for the best. Unit, web, schema, runner schema. Hey, look at you, tab size 2. No, 2 changes. I interpreted that incorrectly, didn't I? All right, so we got debug, we got fail skips. We need pause and wait. Pause. What? What the hell? Is this an editor config thing? Okay, I don't have an editor config file here, which is probably a mistake. Well, I'm definitely not going to edit it here because Visual Studio is going to be more destructive to it than Visual Studio Code. Editor, config, wow. It's a hell of a delay you were having there, buddy. Tab width. 2. I feel like that's not how editor config files work. Let me go find another editor config file. Yeah, there you go. Indent style is space, indent size is 2, EOF is LF. Fan-freaking-tastic. Hey, 2 spaces, great. All right, I don't know what else I just broke with that editor config file. I'm not sure I care. I mean, HTML stuff is all 2-spaced. How about my markdown? We have markdown in here, right? The docs, a few people have done markdown. Nobody's apparently indenting anything in markdown. My HTML is generally 2-spaced. Okay, great. That's great. Roll everybody up. Go back to the schema. Let's go do this. All right, so we wanted pause. Pause. Description enables or disables pausing before running any tests. And not all runners will support this flag. That's definitely true. Not all runners will support this flag. Default is false. Don't know why I always forget to put a comma there. Type is Boolean. Boolean. Boolean, and then wait. Wait. Enables. Oh, what? I just realized I spelled disabled instead of disables. Enables or disables waiting before exiting after all tests have finished running. Not all runners will support this flag. True. False. False. Type. Boolean. So here's an interesting thing. Now that I'm looking at this, wait and debug actually probably don't belong here. For the exact same reasons I was just arguing against reporters. Debug, pause, and wait actually don't belong here. Just fail skips. Oh. Okay, well that was dumb. I guess I should have thought about all of this before I realized that I was doing dumb. So we're just missing fail skips. See, now I thought the delta here was a lot bigger than it turned out to be. Like I thought this was going to be a really big issue. Okay. So what that means is config_reader.json is going to need to do fail skips as a Boolean. Right? Which means we have more tests. And let's see, fail skips. Yeah, I don't know whatever this thing is that's trying to help me, but it needs to be off. I don't think... Right, I think that's all of this. Responsive code completion. Boy, that sounds like it. What the fuck is this feature called? What is this feature called? Word-based suggestions handled by the TextMate grammars. Nope. Default IntelliSense completion mode. How about no IntelliSense completion mode? All languages, general. Navbar, no brace completion, yes line numbers, no word rep, no virtual space. Code lines is fine. General, that's going to be the same. Advanced. Suggest usings. Play system directives first. Yeah, that's definitely should have been on. Outlining, fading. Generate XML. Editor help. Show remarks and quick info. Show preview for rename tracking. Split string literals. Report invalid placeholders. No, that sounds like what I'm struggling with. Colorize regular expressions. Ethyl implement. Inline hints. Display all hints. Color hints. How about no hints? And how about no hints? Is that going to be it? Okay, let's go down and tell show completion list and after. Ah, that's going to be it right there. So close. Automatically show completion list and argument lists. God bless America. Just need to shut the fuck up. This is all code style. That's all code formatting. That's not going to matter. All right. Well, you know what? I hate you so much right now that you're going away. Because I can't figure out how to turn you off. So you're going away. All right. That was maybe a little bit more than I intended to minimize. Yeah, where did my standard bar go? I think I must have taken it away earlier. Bring it back. Bring it back. Run utility tests. Okay, run utility tests. Configuration, configurator tests. That's all I want. I want this. I don't want whatever the fuck that other thing was. All right. So fail skip should be false by default. That's true. We should go into override values. Now, we'll run this first. Let's make sure that this runs. Wow, it's like literally like a 1 pixel kind of a bar there, buddy. Expected false. I actually got null. Well, I'm not understanding configurator tests. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be or default. That's why. Yes, I realize you're null. I want you to be false by default. And that should have required no code. And it required no code. So the override, we're going to go make it true. Diagnostics fail. Oh, did I just cut that out of there? Oh no, wait a minute. Put it in the right place, my brother. Okay, that's gonna fail. True, false, true, false. Override values config. Alright, we're not going to do this for config. Which means we should be running... Oh my god, you know what? When I was running all those tests before with Jason. Yeah. It's not actually not framework, that's the problem. It's... we're going to come down here and we're going to say if... config file name ends with JSON. So we're going to have to move this down to the bottom. It's only supported by JSON. Okay. There we go. Now we should get a fail. One fail, just for JSON. We need to actually go change the value in the JSON. Which should be, what do we call it? Fail skips. Fail skips. Should still fail because it's still not implemented yet. Okay. Should be able to just run the configurator tests. Please. Debug. Configurator tests. That should be much faster. Phew. Much better. Okay. All right, so still broken because we haven't changed this yet. So we need a Boolean, which is fail skips, else if that, which is configuration.failSkips. Configuration.failSkips is Boolean value. So configuration needs a failSkips. Skips. Okay. All right. Now if we run, our tests should both pass. They do. And we can come down here, bad values. You should still be false. Negative threads, multiple, max thread, multiple, all that stuff looks good. So you should still pass. Okay, good. And that was already in configuration, so that should just work. And I think what we do is source XUV3 assert tests net 472. So we don't actually say anything about failing skips up here. We also don't have a skipped test. So let's do a little quick surgery. So running utility tests have skipped tests, right? I just run them. Those are my skips. Because of stack trace filtering being disabled in debug. So let's go xunit runner JSON, and we should be able to say fail skips is true. You can yell at me because that's not what that's supposed to look like yet. Hey, they turned into fails. Fail skip. Okay. So that adds fail skips. Take a look at this in git-k. Okay, so we added fail skips. And we had a test for it. Git A, git commit m, add fail skips option to JSON configuration file. And then we can put a number, oops. What issue number are you? 2126. So we'll get a reference to that. We'll do a quick build. And all right, let's go look at our stuff. Where's our stuff? Okay, so we got fail skips. You're up here now. Fail skips. You're a Boolean. You're false by default. Good. So we have test filtering. So interesting. MS Build. Now, if we compare, console seems to be the most full featured, right? MS Build is definitely missing stuff that console is missing. It's missing some of the filtering, most of the filtering, really. Well, let's go on as traits. All right. So test filtering for non-traits. Let's do this after 2126. Okay, so we got app domains, diagnostics, diagnostic messages, debug. We don't have debug here. I'm kind of torn on this. Like debug, pause, and wait. These all feel like things that you would use the console runner interactively. They don't feel like things you would automate. And running tests with MS Build is something you would automate. You're not going to run MS Build tests Like you don't custom craft an MS build file to run test one off, right? And debug, pause, and wait all feel like one-off things. So I'm willing to let those go. Fail skips, ignore failures. Ignore failures. Wait, what? Ignore failures. When did that become a feature? Ignore failures. Why? Why is that a feature in MS Build? Ignore failures. All right, let's go take a look at this again. Why are you a thing? So all ignore failures does is change the exit code. So we still report things as fail, but the exit code is ignored. And yeah, all right. So I think in the console runner, that means we want something ignore failures. We're going to want to put that in the console runner. Okay, so max parallel threads int. So max threads needs multiple support. All right, and then max parallel threads needs multiple support. And then let's see, no auto reporters, no logo, no color, which we can't really support down here. Method no namespace, no shadow. So we've got shadow copy with a true false pull from the config value. Pre-enumerate theories is false by default. So we never did types on this. Diagnostics is bool. Oh, yeah. Probably because all these things that are Boolean are all false by default. Probably. But we should check them out. Actually, let's just mark them as Boolean. We'll check out the default values here in a minute. So stop on fail should now be a config file value, in my opinion. Pre-enumerate theories should also have been a config file value. Well, actually, hang on. Let's go make sure that stop on fail. Stop on fail is nullable. So it's definitely pulling config file value already. Pre-enumerate theories is false. So that means pre-enumerate theories should default to config file value, right? Fail skips should, yeah, fail skips should also do that. Fail skips should default to config file. Let's see. Ignore failures. Not in the config file. let's see, what else? Parallels assemblies. We have parallel up here with all assemblies and collections. This is a little bit different, but sure. We don't have, like I said, we don't have pause. I don't care. Pre-enumerate theories. It's false. We're going to make that default to the config file. Diagnostic messages should also config file, right? Because we have that in diagnostic messages. So let's see. Make values default to config file. Diagnostic messages. Fail skips. Pre-enumerate theories. Ignore failures is fine. Fail scripts diagnostic internal. So there's no internal diagnostic messages yet. So internal diagnostic messages just needs to be added outright. Yep. Okay, down here. So we have shadow copy matches up with no shadow. Stop on fail, working folder is a little bit weird. I guess we assume that the console runner can set its working folder just by you choosing the folder you run it from, which is fine. And so nothing else. Transforms reporters. So this is a list of the things we need to do to MS build. And then a list of things we need to do to the console runner. So app domains, if available, is missing. We need to mainline. We really need to make sure that this stuff gets I really want to sort this stuff, so I'm gonna. It just makes it easier to deal with. I don't know how I got this far in my life without having sorted them. If you know anything about me, that just doesn't make any sense. Debug. Diagnostics. Internal diagnostics. App domains. Max threads. Parallel. I'm going to have to do this twice, by the way, because of course I have this duplicated twice. I've never gotten rid of the duplication between the in-process and out-of-process runner. Trait. No trait. Class. No class. It's like watching paint dry, right? method. No method. Namespace. No namespace. I'm definitely gonna commit just this sort. And then might be an output file, might be a reporter. Okay. Must be denied or required. Argument of class, debug, diagnostics, failscapes, internal diagnostics, max threads, method, namespace, no app domain, no auto reporters, no class, no color, no logo, no method, no namespace, no shadow, no trait, parallel, pause, pre-enumerate theories, stop on fail, trait, wait. Very good. So, all of this code is the same, except there's a couple of things we don't have in the other side. And we can get rid of the historical, well, the no app domain doesn't even really matter anyway, because in prop console runner, oh yeah, we don't have for eaches here, do we? Or we do, but they're just slightly different. So let's comment all of this out. I'm going to put my version in. And then the local named assembly is already here. Oh, I feel like I could fix this over here. Let's do this. All right. Sky build still. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Should have done it in a selection. It was dumb. Should have done it in a selection. Yeah, in selection. Perfect. How do you build? Yes, good, good, good. The more I make this code alike, the easier it's going to be for me to dedupe it later. Now, you don't have app domains. You don't have no app domain. And you don't have no shadow. Do you still build? You do. So let's build the cert tests. Alright, so you still do your thing. So let's do diagnostics. We'll just pass one of these, diagnostics. Internal diagnostics. Trying to think. Class foo. Should give us nothing. Okay. No class foo should still give us everything. And you attempted to get project on an uninitialized command line object. Oh. Well, that's interesting. Command line 59. Project. Probably because we had a parse fault. Are we just not dealing with parse fault here? I bet we're not dealing with parse fault here. Command line parse fault console runner. Dispatch info, capture, command line parse fault throw. Oh. And that looks to be the right place to deal with it, right? How about you? Are you dealing with it in the same place? You are. Xunit v3 runner console bin debug net 472 xe no class. Missing argument for notable class. That looks better. So console runner 328, console runner 55. What am I doing wrong here? So inline console runner 328. 328. 55. Command line parse. So this isn't a console runner. What is your... Oh yeah, you look very different up here, don't you? Okay. That's a different bug now, isn't it? Alright, so you, args, console lock, no test assembly. There's a value task for entry point, and then a bunch of stuff. Global internal diagnostic messages. No color. And then... So you don't have a list of runner reporters, huh? So what do you look like? How do I make you look the same? Console lock's fine. Executed. Get rid of the loggers, fine. The runner reporters, the test assembly, test execution summaries. Oh, maybe. Entry point method can only be called once. Okay, so that's a double entry check. I'm okay with that. That is definitely going to be unique to console runner for the in-proc console, because somebody could theoretically just new it up and call it twice. So no test assembly. Command line parse. Command line is command line parse args. Right, and you'll come over here with your command line, and let's talk about why your parse is different than my parse. So you have a version of parse which just takes args, which just news up command line with args. You have a version of parse with a predicate for file exists. You're taking assembly and assembly file name in here because there's only one of them. Because there's only one of them. And we need that to construct our project file. Whereas you would expect to get those things passed to you in the command line. Okay, makes sense. So I need the test assembly. So test assembly can come back. Runner reporters can't come back. This is where we're failing, right? Because command line parse could return us a null, right? Because if we fail, well, no, it's not that we fail, it's that we get a parse failure inside of there. Okay, so let's remove that. Let's ignore and remove that for now. Okay, so how do we make this work then? Entry point has a global internal diagnostic messages in a no color. I'll pretend I need that. Oh yeah, it's already right there, isn't it? So we get the reporters here. Right, okay, fine. Var reporters, get available runner reporters. Sure. Then we do our arg checking. Print the header, print the usage, given the reporters. Turn to, and we check for parse faults. Then we yell at you if you don't have an assembly, which we don't need to do over here. And that's fine. So that's basically this. Runner reporters to list, get available runner reporters. So we're given reporters here. So I think what we need to do then is move this down here. Okay, I get it. I get what I need to do here now. And then we'll say this dot runner reporters is runner reporters, right? And you can be nullable for a moment. Enumerable, nullable, enumerable to a read-only list. To a read-only list. Okay, well. Get available runner reporters. So let's do this then. You'll be nullable. We'll say if runner reporters is not equal to null, then you could be cast or to read-only list. Right? And then we'll say if runner reporters is still null, maybe it'll need to be empty because I don't want to necessarily know if I want to do this. Right, then what I should do is runner reporters is get available runner reporters for test assembly file name and no color. Actually, usage didn't require reporters, so why not? Because it was global. New list of, let's see, how about array empty? Now you don't have to be nullable anymore. That should take away the red there. And this, we're going to want to do down here. What did that line used to be? I don't remember. So tell me what that line used to be. This test assembly location, command line project, blah, 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 no color default. Actually, if I put that here, and then I put that here, then I should be able to get the reporters. Okay. Haha! Ta-da! And if I do a question mark, I get my reporters, I get my results. And here, I get my failure. I get my reporters, I get my results. Honestly, I don't, for the life of me, I don't know why that doesn't just go right up top. Right? In both cases. Like, why wouldn't you go right there? Seems correct to me. Okay. Missing argument for no class. Why are we not caught there? Why did that move? Oh, I moved it outside the try block, didn't I? It's not command line, it's console runner. Alright, need to be inside the try block. Okay. Better. Still good. Still good. There we go. All the console runners, please. console runners, please. Okay, so you moved up. There's no reason not to do you there. I mean, if you parse failed, then you parse fail. You should just get out. You can give me a list of reporters, but if you give me nothing, then I will go get the list of reporters. I'm not 100% sure that I like that. Because why can't you give me nothing? Why can't you take all the runner reporters away? No, don't command line again. Right, if I make this nullable, who gets upset? This is the only place that gets upset. Yep. I don't know what this does in the case of null. If the source is null, we get back null. Okay, good. Great. So it can potentially give me back a nullable when given a nullable. Okay, good. Yeah, that's better. Don't need this on there. This is the nproc, so let's go test this to make sure we get our reporter list. We do. So this doesn't fail. That. Okay. All right. Let's go do the add again. Take a look again. All right. So that moves up. This becomes nullable. That gets that. This moves down. That moves up, and then after we validated that, then we go get the runner reporters. So that moved up. And all you care about is not 0. Fix bug with nproc console runner not correctly displaying command line parse errors. Okay. So this is our rearrange. All right, so let's go back to command line. Go to the nproc command line. We'll take a look at some of our commented out stuff, make sure it matches. So like, for example, no logo is just a guard and a project configuration set no logo. Well, that's about as simple as it gets. No logo is a guard and a project configuration no logo set. So the structure of these things is the same. No class looks like this. That one's a little more complex, so let's go take a look at that. Let's go find no class. Option value null, throw, missing argument for no class, for each blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. This is blah blah blah. Okay, I'm convinced these things all look the same, and now they're in the same order. Which means this diff looks very annoying. As it tries to figure out everything. Okay. Hey. Alphabetize switches in command line CS both. Okay. Back to our stuff. Did we come up with anything else that was missing on the console side? Aptdomains, for some reason, took away if available. Ignore failures needs to show up. Max threads needs multiple support. Right, that was it though, right? So aptdomain, diagnostic, internal diagnostic, fail skip is already here. Oh, we need to test the defaults. We need to make sure the defaults are good. That's what I was doing. Command line, well, that's why I wanted to sort them, because I wanted to be able to run through them in alphabetical order. So aptdomains is the default. Stays. If available. Strangely enough, if available is its default value, even though it's not a legal value. Class is a name. Diagnostics is a bool. I think the way that this parsing works, basically, we always let the project say what the default is, because unlike in the case of MS Build, where we have properties that are Boolean or maybe backed by nullable Boolean, we only set values here. So I don't really need to go through and check all these defaults, because they are definitely pulling defaults. Okay. I kind of want to do MS Build first, because it's only one, whereas Console Runner is twice. So I kind of feel like these are bool. They're not nullable bool. Is that? I don't remember if I didn't make them nullable bool because MS Build just doesn't support nullable bool types. Because unlike nullable string, which is a nullable reference type, nullable bool is like a legit thing, right? Because a bool is a struct. And so that becomes nullable of bool. Sorry, nullable of bool. That's my alligators. So my guess is I just want setters for all of these. Diagnostic messages. Fail skips. Fail skips. Ignore failures, we know, is unique to this. Internal diagnostic messages. Internal diagnostic messages. No auto reporters, no logos, those are fine. Those don't come from config. Pre-enumerate theories definitely comes from config. Pre-enumerate theories Shadow copy, stop on fail. Okay, so those are the 3 that I need up here. Diagnostic, messages, internal diagnostic messages, and then pre-enumerate theories. Fail skips. Okay, now we come down here where all of these are just kind of used. Internal diagnostic messages. Internal diagnostic messages. I'm going to leave that one for a minute. Let's come down here. All right. Diagnostics or equals. Oh, really? I was doing or equals? So I kind of was doing this already? Has value, then this is pre-enumerate theory's value. Diagnostic messages has value. So I feel like things that I have turned off things that I turned off in IntelliCode. Not IntelliCode, in text editor in VS 2022 out of my anger and unhappiness in IntelliSense. Not or equals, just equals. Internal diagnostic messages value. So that leaves me down here with fail skips. Alright, so that's when we say if fail skips has value, then assembly configuration fail skips is fail skips value. That's when we use assembly configuration fail skips. Or default. Right. And lastly, we're up here with internal diagnostic messages. Where are you? You're in execute. Internal diagnostics. So internal diagnostics message sync. This is way out here, really? Because the subscribe resolve for assembly So that doesn't come from any particular assembly. That comes from you wanting to set the flag. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So we've added 4 things here. We've added 4 things here. This is the outer one, so it's not related to an assembly. These are the inner ones, which weren't correctly pulling values, and that's now pulling the value from the assembly. That all looks good. We'll see how the build comes out. While we're doing that, let's see. Let's say web. What have I added? Oh, I added an editor config. All right. Git add editor config. Add editor config. I don't have a git config. Git attributes. I think that's what I want is git attributes, right? Attributes. I also want a git attributes file. Set up editor defaults. Update 3.0 alpha 1. Let's see, update schema v3.0 alpha 1. Schema JSON with new values for v3. Fail skips and stop on fail. Enables or disables converting skip tests into failed tests. Enables or disables stopping all running tests when a first failing test is encountered. It's false. Okay, good. I'm not quite ready to push that yet. All right, so why did we fail here? Yeah, okay. Command line tests, Xunit v3 runner console tests. Let's go run new Xunit v3 runner console tests. Which one are you? Xunit v3 runner console tests. Options with arguments. Command line tests. Options with arguments. And this one must be denied or required. Right? Oh, we should be able to run that here. Let's run the inline, the inproc console runner tests. Whoops. For funsies. Okay. Let's go ahead and run build. While that's running, let me switch to V1. Try V2. Wait a minute. Wow. Okay. Let me switch to V1. Switch back to GH pages. That should have brought all my files back with line feeds this time. Okay. I'll just do a quick validation of that because that should be there, right? All these, just pick one at random. Hey, light beads, yay! Hooray, hooray for this. I normally don't edit this stuff on Windows. Normally edit this on the Linux side. What do we got going on here? Alright. Non-serializable data found. Falling back to single test case. First of all, why would that be on? Should be two tests. Theory. Data discovered does not exist. All right, let's see. What have we done since today? So CS, that's our JSON, that's CS. Sure, I didn't check anything in, I didn't mean to. Console runner. Command line. Certainly didn't check in anything it didn't mean. Whoops. We have command line tests and XUnit CS not checked in yet. That's it, right? This command line tests is actually part of the last commit. Okay, let's stash this. Let's change to the MS build runner. Core multiplier. Failed tests because the debugger hangs on the DLL IP to be an acceptance test. Global JSON to stick to 5x. I don't see this. That's it for today, right? Yep. I didn't check anything in that I didn't mean to. I'll just see if this broke stuff. It's possible by not having diagnostic messages or internal diagnostic messages turned on. It's possible this parsing has caused other stuff to go sideways. Because diagnostics are on, but internal diagnostics are off. Method display, parallelize. That's it. That's all that's there. Suddenly all this stuff works. Okay, so tools, builder. What is the target for MS Build? It's test fx MS Build. Git stash pop. Test fx MS Build. Yeah, that just goes super sideways all of a sudden. Data discover for theory discover, no, blah, 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 does not exist. Suddenly goes super sideways. Why? What did we do? This is a really simple change, right? Diagnostics, fail skips, internal diagnostics, pre-enumerate theories. Oh, you know what? Pre-enumerate theories is probably on by default right now, isn't it? I bet that's what it is. Pre-enumerating the theories and failing in the V2 tests. how do we deal with the pre-enumerate theories default in console runner? I'm sure it must be on by default, right? Pre-enumerate theories or default. It's true by default. So where we used to have false before, right? Because pre-enumerate theories was just a bool, and so you had to turn it on, and so it was off by default. And we're now using XUnit Runner JSON. Question is, do we use it here as well? I don't remember. Reload. Reload. We do. Mode. So we're going to turn off theory pre-enumeration. This is going to make all that stuff work again. Because there's just a lot of shit in those tests that don't work with theory pre-enumeration. That's really surprising and annoying and totally believable. And totally believable. God bless America. Okay. Well, that's that. Okay, so this is for 2126 again, right? So git commit make ms build runner diagnostic messages, fail skips, internal diagnostic messages, and pre-enumerate theories obey the config file by default. And that is why when we take a look at this, what we're going to see is, remember we had 2 or equals and 1 not? That was because I was running over top and saying, I disagree with the default. Question is, should pre-enumerating theories be the default? Should runners have to ask for it? Because it has a performance penalty. Right, it's kind of like you should only ask for pre-enumerated theories if you're a runner that wants to be able to separate discovery and execution and show some UI. Maybe it shouldn't be the default. Comes with a performance penalty. That is unnecessary. Some runners. So shouldn't we force runners to decide what is their sensible default. Meaning, should we remove pre-enumerate or default? That's not the only one though, right? It's not the only one. Test assembly configuration. We'll CC Claire. And I will grab this link. And I will go find Claire on Twitter. Found this on live stream when I realized the default of true breaks some xunit.net tests. The console and MS build runner were defaulting to false forcefully for performance reasons. But I feel like this should become a more formal thing, where we force the runners to decide rather than pick a default for them. All right, one DM site. Okay. What's left in our stuff? Oh yeah, we did add internal diagnostic messages. It is there. This was already there. We made those be the defaults. Max parallel threads needs multiples. Okay, so we haven't fixed that yet. We're not actually, not actually done with MS build yet. So max parallel threads. I'm looking in the wrong place. So max parallel threads here is a nullable string, which is fine. Default, unlimited. So here the values are a little bit different. Default and unlimited are special cases. So the first thing I want to do is I want to introduce the old cases. Right? Unit tests. All right, let's not make that change yet. Let's test our way into that. Let's see. Take a quick peek at the live stream and make sure this is still going. It is still going. Okay, good. Sometimes you just never know, right? Sometimes you just never know. Okay. All right. Right. So I think what we want is long as welcome banner, blah 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 blah, get a reporter, blah 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 blah. Test election unit. So most of the time we aren't actually testing any of these switches. Which kind of makes me sad, but I understand why that might be. Because they're really difficult to actually test. Yeah, they're really difficult to test. Because they're all intricately tied into actual running things with MS Build. Oh. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Alright, so where's our new regex? Remember our new regex? That one. Should you be hoisted out somewhere? Question is where? Configurator? Man, I suppose you could stay on configurator JSON. You could just become a public static read-only regex. Probably should have been read-only anyway. Yeah, you can use the new syntax, and also you should be called Max with a capital M. And then you want me to write a doc. That's the regular expression that matches the multiplier style value for maximum parallel threads. That is, 0.5x, 2x, etc. Multiplier style max parallel threads regex. Okay. Now you're public. Is configurator JSON a good place for it? It's really weird. Maybe it should just be in configurator. I don't really have a configuration class. Configurator is as close as we get. So that will do that, and then this will come down here, and we'll say configurator dot whatever. Oh, configurator's not even in the same. Oh my god, can't be there. Damn it. I don't like it here though. So all of your configuration stuff is down there. Let's make a new container class for this. Big utility. Hate making utility classes, but it's where you're gonna be. Utilities for reading configuration values. Probably nothing else belongs up there. All right. Basically want the same thing we had here. You don't have to be there. You can be out int. There. Thread value is going to be max thread multiplier. Let's say we just did this last time. Int thread multiplier times environment dot processor count. That's why thread value comes up here. And thread value. I don't really know which one of these we should do first. Kind of weird. I guess that's that. Easiest way to test this then would be to go do max parallel threads 1.5x again, right? And then run all the MS build tests and see how many threads it says. It actually might not even tell us. The new banner doesn't really have us discovering. It does have a running, a starting now. Starting should tell us. I don't remember. We'll see. Should get 36 though. Yeah, there you go, maxed at 36. How about them apples? Okay. All right, so get log1. Add MS build runner support for max parallel threads. Multiplier format, i.e. 0.5x 2x, etc. Right? Quick peek what we just did there. Moved you off into config utility. We added 0 and -1 for... It's a good question. Like, should we support default and unlimited in other places? I kind of feel like we should. No, but I really don't want to. Like, historically, you could say default and unlimited are available some places, but not others. What that would mean would be we'd want... I did not leave it open. Of course I didn't. So that would mean what we'd want for the schema here would be max parallel threads. We'd want to be able to support this or default or unlimited. Right? Then the minimum could be -1. Use a value of unlimited or -1 to indicate that you... Let's go find our .NET regex tester. No, this would be a JSON schema tester, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's what we used last time, was a JSON schema tester. JSON schema tester. So there's our schema. Max parallel threads could be -2 is bad, -1 is okay, 0 is okay, -0, interesting. 1's fine, 12 is fine, 1.2x is fine, unlimited, default. Yeah, we do that. I mean, as long as we're going to allow strings, we might as well allow the useful strings. And then that means in my stuff over here, JSON, we need to support default and unlimited values for max parallel threads. We could also change the default value to be default. Actually, we should make sure everything has a default value, right? Everything should show its default value. Default is default, default is class and method, default is none, default is false, default is true, default is true, default is false. Okay, good. Everybody should have a default value. So your default should be default. Okay. Max parallel threads needs multiple support. We got that done. So max parallel threads is int string int or string int string. Default value is default. So interestingly, if we do it like that, then I guess that means... Oh no, we did that all right. I did add that. I'm thinking that I missed something, but no, I actually put those there. 0 and -1 are fine. But I don't actually have to do that. Max thread count. Set max parallel threads. Oh. No, I should leave what I had there. Zero is make no change. -1. It's invalid, must be default, unlimited, or a positive number. Right, okay. So the other thing we should do to make sure that this parsing works here is we should change the MS build file. Right, controls builder. Don't need output for you, thank you. There are, there you go. Parallel threads is 0.5x. Parallel threads is 2x. Let's make sure that that still works. On the command, on the MS build properties. So there's 48 for V2, that's our 2x. And there's our 12, that's our 0.5x. Okay, so those worked. Good. No changes necessary there. So I think that's it for MS build. All right, where's stuff? Okay, with default. Default. Default's not actually default. Config file value is default. That is config file value now. All right. Config file value, no auto reporters, config file value, should be. No logo is okay. Oh, ignored failures. There isn't, that isn't a config value. Enumerate theories is config file value. All right, ignore failures and no logo. Those are the only ones that are left that are just straight up bools, right? Fail skips is not a straight up bool. Ignore failures is. No auto reporters is. No logos is. No logo. False. No auto reporters. Doesn't. Right. Does not come from config file. There's nothing about auto reporters there. Reporter is a global thing. Those are the three that are false. Everybody else whose bool sets a nullable, sets a nullable, sets a nullable. Okay, good. All right, I'm convinced I'm done with MS build. Okay, I'm done with MS build. Let's go back to JSON and get default and unlimited support in there. so we're going to need some... We're going to need some new values here. Let's do this. Touch. Instead of adding new files in there, touch source xunit v3 runner utility tests config reader max threads explicit false. Jason. Okay, you can be quiet there, Mr. Phone. Explicit unlimited, Jason. Okay. Did not pluralize last time. Okay. Better. So let's do max parallel threads default. Right. And then max parallel threads unlimited. And then we're going to need a couple of tests. Guess this really didn't need to be a theory, did it? Nope. Did not. Text messages? Like static void configuration file with max. See, with max threads explicit default returns processor count. Okay, so this is going to be config reader max thread explicit default, right? Explicit default. There's just going to be processor count. That should fail because it doesn't parse. Are you still running utility tests? I sure am not. See who's texting me. See if this is an emergency. Not likely, but let's see. Alright. That did not fail. How weird. How weird was that? I bet I know why. No, I bet I don't. I really don't. What's the default? Figure there. Max parallel threads. Max parallel threads. Default. Okay, well, let's do the unlimited. So how does unlimited get expressed? Return, let's see, max parallel threads unlimited. Returns unlimited. I guess that just returns a -1, right? Unlimited. Should be a -1. Because, like, right now, config reader JSON What does configurator JSON do with a 0? If it's greater than or equal to -1, then we set max parallel threads to its value. Max parallel threads, oh, this is not exactly correct. Because if you set it to 0, oh, this is broken. How did nobody notice this? This is definitely broken. Let's go touch. Before we do that, max parallel threads. Let's look for max parallel threads colon. So we have negative threads. So what is our negative thread test? Returns -1. So we never actually tested 0. With 0 threads, turns processor count, which it most certainly does not. This one's definitely going to fail. 0 threads. I want to do this as max thread 0, and I kind of want to rename some of the other things so that they have more reasonable names, right? So max thread, God bless America, I did it again. You know what? We're going to call these things better names. Max threads multiplier, how about that? Negative threads, you're going to be max threads -1. You're going to be max threads -1. Okay, right? Let's go fix this to be max threads -1. Whoops. 0 is still a valid value that's probably being screwed up. In config. And so I feel like config file name. You should be environment.processor count. Let's comment these out for the moment. I don't know what I might have broken there. So 0 is definitely incorrect, because when I pull that max parallel threads are default, it should be the processor count. Somebody comes in with 0. So this was definitely a bug. Also, I didn't actually set a value for 0 in this 0 config because I was dumb. Spaces, please. U should be 0. Okay, so the JSON doesn't parse. Well, probably because I didn't set the JSON correctly. Where's my -1 JSON? Let me copy my -1 JSON into my 0 JSON. All right, so you are both coming out as 0, even though you're supposed to be 24. Okay, so that is config_reader JSON setting 0. So the question is, who should be responsible for this? Should it be this? So if you're nullable and somebody sets 0 into you, it's not like 0 is ever a valid value. So instead of doing this, we could do a get value or default on it. A value of null or 0 needs to indicate that the default value should be used. So here, I think what I want is I want to say if you're null or 0, I want your processor count to be, I want it to be processor count. Okay, so does that fix our test? That should fix our test, right? This thing. I don't even know what the hell's going on with this thing. Part of me wants to take that assert out. All right. Max threads as a multiple. We're going to go with multiplier. So we want to call it as a multiplier. You are max threads multiplier. Max threads multiplier. Okay. You are explicit default. Max threads explicit default returns the processor count. So your max threads default I'm taking it out. Action 2 message adapter test 94. Taking it out. I don't, for the life of me, can't figure out what the hell the problem is. You're probably telling me that I should deconstruct it, right? Yeah, you're out of your mind. That is not more readable. Let's go add that and commit it. Remove flaky assertion. Okay. So we parse it fine, and we get processor count back out. Here, we did not parse it. The max threads unlimited. That's probably the wrong file name anyway. Max threads unlimited. .json, right? Expected -1 got 24. So we got through the parse okay. Isn't that weird that we got through the parse okay? That feels wrong. Right? This shouldn't pass right now. Or do we only return false when you have unrecognized values? I guess we only return false when you have unrecognized values. Or if something in here throws. Actually, if something in here throws. That's the only thing that returns false. Okay, never mind. That actually should pass. Even though it's kind of broken, but whatever. Okay, so we're only missing unlimited. Unlimited should be -1. So for string value for max parallel threads, we're going to say if string equals unlimited string value string comparison ordinal ignore case configuration.max parallel threads is -1. Else. All of that. That's really weird though, right? Feels really weird. Okay. Let's come over here and see what we did. Right, so we added unlimited and default. Actually, we should... I think part of the problem with this test is like anywhere where we have a default, we want the default to like really be the default, kind of. Right, so here we should do max parallel threads is 2112. Now that should fail. Because we really want default to say, I really mean it. I really mean default. You don't know what state this object is. This object is in when we pass it in. Okay. Your default, And max parallel threads is null. Value of null or 0 indicates that the default should be used. Environment processor count. Very good. Might as well add that into the mix. Go ahead and run the build. Do our review. So there's default unlimited. Value of null or 0 indicates test default should be used. Environment processor count, a value of -1 should run with an unlimited size thread pool. Okay, that's that. That's our default. That's our unlimited. That's our 0 and our 0. -1, -1. 0, 0. Processor count. There's ×2. Apply our default unlimited. Very good. My phone's blowing up a little bit again. Oh, people liking my posts on Instagram. Oh my goodness. Went into the new GitHub Bellevue office yesterday. Took a photo of Mount Rainier because Mount Rainier very nicely was hanging out. And the floor that we were on has a spectacular view of it. So, people liked that. I agree. Something you should like. Okay. Git log 5, 6. Git commits. Add support for default unlimited in JSON and fix bug where, let's see, add max thread support and fix a bug where 0, where an explicit 0 would not use the default processor count. Okay. Back to our stuff, please. Support default and unlimited. Did it. Alright, so we still have test filtering. I believe that means we're done with JSON. And here we are on console. So we're missing app domains, ignore failures, and max thread multiples. Alright. I foresee at least another hour's worth of work, and I've been at this 3.5 hours. I need a break. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for today. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me for 3.5 hours. I think I'm pretty close to done with this. I'm definitely gonna go have some late lunch, as is my usual, and then maybe come back and finish this up and then push it all up. Cool. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'll be streaming next weekend. So yeah, see you next time.